then what we can do is go ahead and select all of this and use the hotkey for auto hanger, VAH. Now, our hanger algorithm does coordinate with taps and Olets. No other hanger algorithm does this, which basically means if you're working with taps and Olets, then their hanger algorithms are useless. You're much better off just putting them yourself because they're all going to be wrong. So that's one thing that it does do. This is all controlled. If you select anything, you can come up here and so all of our automation tools are driven by service. So I selected this and it's going to take me directly to that service. We're in the 4-inch water gauge service, and I can set line colors and fill colors. And I have different specs for rectangular, round, and oval. And so for rectangular, I could drop down my hanger specs. And this does go by half perimeter. No other hanger tool does this, and half perimeter is Smagna. Now, if you're working with pipe, it's just going to be max diameter, which you would be expecting. But for rectangular ductwork and oval ductwork, it goes by half perimeter, which is nice because that's how Smagna works. So you can just basically enter your hanger specs one-to-one with the Smagna tables, using the bearings and the all thread that you prefer. So right now, anything up to 999 half perimeter will get a trapeze hanger, and so it's showing me all the hangers within the 4-inch water gauge spec. If the hanger you want is not in here, we need to get it in the spec and reload the config. So anything up to 999 will have trapeze hanger, and you can hover over most things, and you'll get a tooltip. So if you're not sure what some value does, you can hover over it either here or here, and it'll usually give you a tooltip. So this is just the maximum spacing between hangers. You enter this in imperial inches and metric millimeters. Minimum spacing, joint offset, so distance from connectors. Rod clearance, this is for trapeze specifically. You can say, I want all my rods to be 2 inches off the insulation or 2 inches off the metal. And then you can also round this value. Well, you can round the bearing increment. Say, I don't want any, 4 foot 2 3/8 bearings. Just give me a 4 foot 3, right? So you can, or 4, you can round to the nearest 2 inches or 4 inches or whatever. Rod extension. Revit has a feature where if you're hanging under a structure, the rods will automatically extend to that structure. And if you want to push the rods further into that structure, you can do that here. And support joints, this checkbox is more for services where the couplings aren't very load bearing, for example, roof drains and stuff like that. So if we go look at piping, what is it? No hub. No. You look at this service. Yeah, no hub. Oh, under round, right? Correct. There's no rectangular. You will have a rectangular tab for piping services, but just ignore it. And that's something we'll get rid of in the future, I think. But for no hub, we do have this checked, and I can kind of show you what that does. So if I go select, now I could absolutely just hang all of these services at once. Could do that. Don't recommend that. You are going to want to just kind of hang a service and then check it out, make sure it looks good, and then hang your next service. But we'll go ahead and hang this roof drain. So VAH. Now I selected it all and I hung it all at once. So that means it just says, okay, I'm going to hang it in the direction that it was drawn. But as you see here, we're getting a coupling. We're getting a hanger close to every coupling, which is what you're going to want for a service like this. Now, when you're setting up these values, so minimum spacing is a restriction and joint offset is a restriction. So the more restrictive you're being with this, the less hangers you're going to get. So like we might not have got a hanger here depending on how restrictive our hanger spec was. And you might find that it's going to miss a hanger. It's not perfect, right? But it is the best. I'm confident in that it is the best fabrication hanger algorithm on the market right now. But say it didn't give you one here, we do offer. So we can come up here and we can say, give me a manual hanger. We can say, put a manual hanger on this straight right here. Now in this way, I didn't have to go pick the hanger, right? Show service, go to hangers, and then I have all these hangers to select from, and I'm not sure at this size pipe with this size insulation, what the hell hanger am I using? We're not leaving that up to the designer. That's all, built right. You're still getting the hanger in the service that was spec, right? But you can place them manually now wherever it's missing one. So uh, what is it? Hanger manual VMH. So VMH, give me one on this pipe right here. Enter to repeat last command. Give me one here. Enter to repeat last command. Give me one. So I'm gonna do all that. Okay. So we have some pipes here. Now, we can control the direction, like I said. So if I say hanger, auto hanger, if I select this side, it's going to go from here to the other end. So there, it started here and it ended there. Let's go. Let's do it again from this end. Right. So you can do it like that. Undo, undo, and then you can also select the whole thing. Auto hanger. Okay, and if you are using Clevis with supply and return side by side, you are going to want some cohesion so that you're hanging from the same steel above, right? So here we accidentally got cohesion because these two lines are pretty much identical, but as soon as we turn the corner, we didn't get any cohesion anymore. So we can tell the hanger algorithm that, hey, I want to hang racks. So let's do that, undo this. And that's a different tool with a different spec. So rack hangers, I can use a trapeze, right? But I can also just use the service specified hanger, which is Clevis for these. And also, this is very, very heavy pipe, so you probably want to use Clevis hangers. Anyways, you just want them to be cohesive. And so this is the spec here. It's the same as the spec under the services, but because this is multi-service, it gets a separate spec because you could have multiple services, right, in a rack. So now that that's set up, I can go ahead and say, give me some rack hangers. And then if there was more pipes in this rack, I could select them now, but there's not. So I'm gonna hit escape to finish the command. Hit enter again, and go ahead and do this side. So now we have some cohesion. These are all hanging from the same steel above. Now coordination on the branch itself is handled because, like I said, it does coordinate with taps and Olets, but coordination issues are still a thing. That's really easy to handle. Let me grab these two at the same time. Bump it over there. Right. Grab those. Right. So there's that. But also, let me go ahead and undo this. Let me adjust these hangers here. Hanger spec, but this time I want to use these. Like this is really heavy pipe. You actually wouldn't do this, but you can. Let's pretend this is a plumbing rack or something, and we can say rack hangers here to here, rack hangers here to here. Okay. We can use trapeze as well.
Now for the rod extension, is that are you able to extend the rods to structure as an option?
Yes, and that just comes with Revit out of the box. Actually, let me see.
Yeah, because from the get-go, we usually go to structure, and then once we're ready to spool, then that's when we would add the engagement. Now, do you have engagement rules for different rod sizes?
We have engagement rules for different hangers items. So you could kind of get that by making a different hanger for every engagement. But yeah, to answer your question really quickly, under hanger specs, so one of the things that we offer is rod extension. And if we hover over this here, what does it say? Rod extension into structure. So Revit provides this out of the box. When I add a hanger through the API, if there's structure above, Revit will do that. Revit will push that rod into the structure. But we will add to that as far as, so you want it to touch the structure and then give me 3 more for an embed or something. You can do that here automatically. So there's that. Do I have a rod extension tool to do it after the fact? Let me see. Hangers.
The add rod length, maybe?
Well, it will add, yeah, that will work because it will disconnect, but it won't keep the connection. I think there needs to be another option here to add that specific inset.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So this will work, right? You can go and add 6 inches to all your rods, but they will disconnect.
But you got to make sure, yeah, you got to make sure that everything starts at the deck, right?
Sure.
You have to verify that.
Yeah, and you can kind of get to that point first through the extender reference if you don't trust your structure, or you could actually just draw a dummy structure that's nice and flat to represent the deck, right, and then hang under that so that your rods start where you want them. But you can also kind of get that here, draw a reference plane that represents the deck, get a side view or any view. Well, no, it has to be a side view for a reference plane. Extend your rods to that quote unquote deck. And then from there, you can add rod length and then give me 6 inches past that. So yes, but
Gotcha.
But then again, what are you guys doing about adding steel? Right, because you're not always going to hit. Well, I guess you're pretty much always going to concrete. Well, I mean that's only on jobs with between floors. You're going straight to the concrete. Is that normally how you guys do it? Do you guys add steel from truss to truss a lot?
Yeah, steel from truss to truss, especially on no concrete decks.
Yeah. So in those cases, like unless you're going to go ahead and add that steel, you're going to want to use the kind of extended reference plane anyway, because there's not going to be relevant structure for you to attach to. But yes, just to reiterate on your question, I was going to show you the structure, and that it's doing that. It is doing that.
And the extension only works with structural members in the model, or can it work off of links?
Well, like I said, this is just a Revit feature, and I believe it does work in links. The extended structure thing is not anything that we're.
Okay, so that is just Revit. Okay.
Yeah, that's just Revit stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to add a manual hanger on this pipe right here. You can see it's going to that bar joist. Now, like you, on some jobs, they don't like you hanging from the bottom of the bar joist. You have to go all the way up. If you're going to add steel, you got to put it up here. Right, so I never really liked that feature to begin with, to be honest, unless you're working with a slab above. That's the only time that.
There is that. Go ahead. Any questions on hangers?
What was the bearing increment?
So that's just going to keep this. So if we look at the bearing on this, and that's just basically the unistrut or the angle iron. Here it's angle iron. We said, and so I don't have notice I have no data here. And I just added these hangers. That is because I was messing around and showing you guys. This is off. So I didn't automatically update this data. But what I can do here is just go to Fave Data, update my whole work set. But then while I'm at it, go ahead and keep this on, right? So when I add hangers, give me all the data. But now I have data on this hanger. And we will look at the bearing. That's one. So when you're scheduling hangers, right, you could schedule your cut lengths for all of your angle iron, right, and your unistrut. And that's another thing that's actually coming is we will you'll be able to schedule like your unistrut and your angle iron, but it'll also linear nest it. So you're kind of minimizing your drop off, which is cool. That's not here yet, but that's on the roadmap. But we can go look at, there are some hanger specific stuff, bearing length, 6 foot. So it kept my bearing length within 2-inch increments. You might not need that. You might not. You might need that. You might
I
not.
gotcha.
Yeah, that's all it is. And you can also do that with rod lengths. There's lots of, because I sometimes I feel like people stress about hangers too much. All thread is cheap, right? And like you don't have to cut it exactly. Just get it close. So one of the things that there's lots of other tools here, guys. Like I said, I could talk your ear off all day about this stuff. But there you could round your rod lengths, right? And just like. This hanger could go here and this hanger could go here and you could swap the two. It doesn't matter, right? And I'm not worried about 3/4 inch differences between this hanger and this hanger. Just cut them all at the closest inch. They're all going to work. But there's lots of other tools here for that, and I'm glad you brought that up. So the bearing increments is something that you got. You also got rod increments, and it kind of appears in other places in the program just to kind of keep everything easy, keep it simple.
I know we used to be able to take the rod length and individualize them, even if it wasn't hitting structure at different heights.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it seemed like we lost that ability.
Revit has those blue grips in there, and we're able to move those up and down.
Yes, and isn't that terrible? How bad is that, right? Like it's so.
Yeah.
It's so. I do have some stuff to address that. So good question. One of the things, what you'll notice, you can go edit any ITM like this, right? It's going to give you all the dimensions. For some reason, you cannot do that with a hanger. But another good use for this properties palette is VM's going to go ahead and expose that for you. You can actually type your rod length in manually. You don't have to worry about this stupid little blue grip. It doesn't even tell me how long I'm dragging it. And in this view, it's not going the way. What is it doing here? I don't. So what you can do here is just say left rod, right? Now this, for some reason, the default in Revit it's don't pay attention to that too much. You can go, let me see, rod extension. It might be rod extension above and below, but you can just go ahead and give me 20. Will that work? Yeah. No, that was, let me undo this. You can do, let's see. I don't know which one, rod length 30, but there's left. Oh, so it's on auto and value. And this is another reason they don't expose these to you. They haven't fully implemented fabrication hangers in Revit. There's your angle extensions. Drop rod length 30. Okay. 40. Yeah, there we go. 50. You can just kind of enter those manually here. What is this is a different hanger. It's going to give us, so we just have rod extension above and center offset. So yeah, that's a 60-inch rod. Give me 20, right? You can do that. And there's lots, like I said, there's lots of other tools here. So yeah, there's that. You can also estimate hanger loads. I don't know if you guys do a lot of that, but you can do that.
In CAD, we have to do it every now and then, right? Especially when it comes to heavy, like grease duct, right? Where it's 16 gauge and has all the fire wrap. So we have scripts that grab all the associated ductwork and divide it up.
Yes.
And tag it, and then we have the block tools that snap blocks onto the hangers. It's only in CAD though, so I'm curious how your Revit one works.
Okay, good question. We'll do that actually. So, and it is just an estimate, but I've spoken with engineers, and it's just as good as any engineer would do it. So it's going to populate the VM hanger load parameter. If we go look at a hanger, we go to properties, we scroll down to all the VM stuff. There is a VM hanger load, right? And when you run that tool, it's going to populate this parameter, and then you can actually use this in a tag, and you can tag how much load is on every hanger, right? So let's go back. it's going to distribute the weight of selected parts between selected hangers. So you select 10 parts and you select 4 hangers. The weight of those 10 parts will be distributed between those 4 hangers evenly. So you do have to be kind of, you know, strategic in your selection sets. You are actually controlling how much weight goes on each elbow or on each hanger, depending on what you're selecting, right? And then it tells you. Let's go back there. Select the fabrication parts and hangers. Calculate. No, another thing that it does out of the box is just going to hide that. After you've calculated, it's going to hide it. And there's some other, like you can also do this with assemblies. When you create an assembly, it'll just hide it. So you know you've been there and you've done that. This is kind of an out of the box what it does for the hanger tool, because it's kind of important. You don't want to run it twice, right? You want to know what weight has been distributed. And then show hidden elements. When you're done, you can just show the hidden elements. Now at the bottom is it tells you that dry weight is calculated for HVAC fabrication parts. So it's just going to give you the dry weight straight out of the database, the weight of the metal, the weight of the insulation. For piping, anything in the MEP piping category it's going to calculate. So it's going to take the volume, and then it's going to take the times and it's going to multiply it by the weight of water per cubic foot. So say this fitting is 2 cubic feet volume, it's going to take that and multiply it by the weight of water. And so you're actually going to get wet weight for piping, which is, I mean, obviously you need that. So let's try that. Let me see if I got some good pipes here. Yeah, I got some pipes down here. And this is big pipes. It's going to be heavy. What is this? 12-inch, right? So first, let me hang it. We're going to do our handy dandy rack hanger to get cohesive hangers. We're going to go there to there, escape, enter, there to there, escape, enter, there to there. Okay, now we got some hangers to actually distribute the weight too. Now, if I were an engineer, or if I was just eyeballing this, what I would do is I want this elbow and this elbow and these I want all this to go on these hangers. So you just select it, right? And then you go to estimate hanger load. And it's going to take the weight of all this pipe and it's going to distribute it on these hangers. Boom. Okay, well, we're still seeing the insulation, actually, which is weird, but it hid that stuff. I might need to look into that. That's crazy. It's not hiding the insulation. It is hiding the parts. So we know that these parts have had their weight accounted for. So now what I can do then is just give me this, hold shift, give me that, or control, give me that, give me that. Give me that. I'll go ahead and I'm going to leave these elbows for these hangers. Okay. And then I will go ahead and distribute that weight hangers. And then also the hotkey is VEH. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And there it's distributed that. And then the last thing I need to do, grab these, distribute that weight to those hangers. And now it's done. And what we could do here is we can come up. There's several ways you could do this. You could go to view, show hidden elements. There's also a filter here which I'd like to show you guys. It's very useful. Come up here, show hidden elements. So now we have all this, but if we look at any of these individual hangers, we can see now that they have a hanger load, 453 pounds on this one hanger. Now these all should be the same because it distributes the weight evenly. Yes, 453, and it also includes the weight of the hanger. So just be aware of that. If there's some small fraction of the weight that you can't account for, it's usually the hanger itself. But so that'll work.